Yesterday, Trump made headlines for picking JD Vance, first-term senator from Ohio, as his nominee for the vice presidency. So JD Vance has a unique story. He was born and raised in Appalachia. He went to the Marines, went to Yale Law School, and finally became a senator from Ohio. However, JD Vance lacks in experience, but he makes up for it in the aforementioned story. So he might resonate with middle and lower class people, which is something that Trump himself kind of lacks. Even though Trump does well on a populist standpoint, he doesn't have that background that people will resonate with, especially middle and lower class people, considering Trump was raised in an upper class family. So with that being said, JD Vance does well at that, and there are a few other reasons why JD Vance was picked. The first is that his 2022 campaign for Senate was practically saved by Donald Trump. You see, he only won by about 6 percentage points, and he barely won the Republican primary in the first place. You could see the polling for the Republican primary, it wasn't looking good for him until Trump endorsed him. So with that being said, JD Vance was practically saved by Donald Trump. And you could see his rhetoric shifted after Donald Trump endorsed him and after he started running, etc. He started becoming more and more pro-Trump. Essentially, before he started running, he basically had some lines like, he said Trump is America's Hitler, etc. And for that reason, he did a complete 180, then becoming extremely loyal to Trump as Trump played a major role in getting him elected. So he is loyal to Donald Trump, which Donald Trump likes, and he's also practically best friends with Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr. All in all, we're going to see how JD Vance actually affects Trump's prospects and how the recent events will actually affect whether or not Trump will be elected. And another important piece of news is Sean O'Brien, right here, the leader of the Teamsters, a union where almost everyone in the union is usually voting for the Democrats. They're encouraged to vote for the Democrats. Sean O'Brien is not endorsing Biden in this election, and he actually spoke at the RNC. He will also probably speak at the DNC, but he has not yet endorsed a candidate, which is important for the RNC and the Republican Party, as he's the first leader of the Teamsters to speak at the Republican convention. So for that reason, the combination of the 1-2 punch of JD Vance and Sean O'Brien, the Republicans will probably do better in the Midwest. Moreover, Bob Menendez, senator from New Jersey, was found guilty of all 6 charges in his corruption scheme. So Republicans will also do better in the state of New Jersey. So with that being said, let's get on with this prediction, and we'll see who will win this election. It is important to say that there has been a call released between Donald Trump and RFK Jr., where Donald Trump essentially is telling RFK Jr. they need to work together, and he's also saying some conspiracy theories with vaccines, etc. So that may actually impact his chances at an electoral landslide, but I view that Trump will win regardless of that call. I don't think that call is really a big deal. I don't think many people actually care about it, but it will affect him a little bit. But anyways, another important thing is that essentially mega donors are flocking towards Trump. Trump has gotten the support of Bill Ackman. He's gotten the support of Elon Musk. And on the same token, mega donors have shied away from Biden, shifting their support from the presidency to donating to Democrats in Congress because they view that Biden doesn't stand much of a chance anymore. So now let's go to the prediction as of July 16th, and we'll go to Ohio, which is now a safe state as a result of Vance being on the ticket. So Vance will help Trump pick up Ohio, a state that Trump has picked up by 8 percentage points in 2016 as well as 2020, but Vance solidifies it. He is an Ohio native. He is basically the Ohio man. Ohio will have no qualms with voting for Vance. But something I'd like to say is Trump's pick of Vance may be a bad thing, since Vance was a valuable asset in the Senate, given that he will likely not lose election in Ohio in the Senate in the years to come had he stayed in the Senate. So for that reason, Trump basically opened up a competitive Senate seat, because remember, the seat between Sherrod Brown and Bernie Moreno is pretty competitive itself. So let's say for the Ohio Senate seat, the other one, an unpopular candidate such as Josh Mandel, who ran back in 2022. He actually ran against JD Vance. You can see here, he was the treasurer of Ohio. If he runs, he will likely lose the Senate seat. So it's not very good for Ohio to open up another competitive Senate seat, but we'll see who Governor Mike DeWine actually picks to replace JD Vance if JD Vance becomes the vice president. The Trump-Vance ticket will also win the state of Iowa. Iowa is a state Trump won in 2020 by about 8 percentage points as well, and Vance will resonate with Iowa voters. I don't think the Trump-Vance ticket will do him any favors in Florida, but it won't negatively affect him either, and it won't really help him in many other states outside the Midwest. But let's go to the West Coast and go to Biden states. So Oregon will go to President Biden. Oregon is a state that Biden won by 16 in 2020, but he'll likely not win by as much in 2024. Remember, there is a phenomenon where many Californian Republicans are actually leaving California. So California actually lost an electoral vote between 2020 and 2024, and this is due to Californians moving. So they're moving to states like Nevada, Utah, and Oregon. So Californian Republicans are usually doing this in protest of the policies that Gavin Newsom has. So that'll help the state of Oregon not be safely to the Democrats. The state of Colorado will go to the Democrats in a similar fashion as Oregon. The state of Colorado went to Biden by about 13 in 2020, went to Clinton by about 5 in 2016. The state of New Mexico will experience a similar shift. You'll see it went to Clinton by 8 in 2016 and went to Biden by 10. So New Mexico is actually a closer state than Colorado most of the time, but 2016 was unique because Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico, ran as a libertarian, and he actually took many votes away from Donald Trump, given that Gary Johnson used to be a Republican and many Republicans supported his policies. So that's the reason Colorado was closer. If Gary Johnson didn't run, New Mexico would have probably been +5 for Clinton, somewhere around there. It would have been very similar. So for that reason, Colorado and New Mexico go by similar margins to President Biden. So now we go to New Jersey. New Jersey will go by somewhat of a similar margin, but that still is a shocker. New Jersey in 2020 went to Biden by 16, but due to the unpopular Menendez, we'll see New Jersey have a shift towards Republicans. This is similar to New York. So New York went to Biden by 23, but in the midterms, was very close between Kathy Hochul and Lee Zeldin, and that's because of unpopular Governor Andrew Cuomo. And that's similar with Bob Menendez. When you get an unpopular governor or senator, many people will associate the whole party with that person and will tend to vote towards the opposite party. So for that reason, New Jersey will not be a safe state for the Democrats. But that's about it. We'll now go to the state of Florida, which offers its 30 electoral votes for Donald Trump. Florida went to Trump in 2020 by 3. It shifted to the right from 2016, one of the few states to actually do so. The state of Texas, while it did not shift to the right, it did go to the Republicans by about 6 points in 2020. If it has the same shift, it'll go to Republicans by about 2 points in 2024. But I don't think it'll have the same shift. I think it'll go to Republicans by a similar margin, maybe +7. So for that reason, Trump wins Texas's 40 electoral votes. And this is looking pretty dire for Biden. Trump currently leads 219 to 196, with some of Biden's former safe states now not looking so safe anymore. But we'll now go to the state of Georgia, which went to Biden by only 0.24 percentage points back in 2020. So the state of Georgia will go to the Trump-Vance ticket. Georgia is leaning more and more Republican. Georgia barely went to President Biden, and I don't think the same will happen in 2024. Georgia will probably have similar margins as it did in 2016, going to Trump by about 5 percentage points. So now we go to Arizona, which similarly went to Biden by 0.31. It went in a surprise to Hobbs in the 2022 governor race against Trump-backed candidate Kari Lake, but it'll still go to Donald Trump in 2024 due to the rightward shift that we've experienced between 2022 and 2024. And for that reason, we'll also see that Wisconsin will go to Trump by similar margins. Wisconsin also went to Biden by less than a percentage point in 2020. So let's remember, Biden was leading in the polling by upwards of like 7 percentage points going into the 2020 election. Even though it looks like he won by a landslide, he barely won in 3 states, and then in another few states he also barely won. So this election was easily flippable for Donald Trump. And due to Biden's increasing unpopularity, on the other hand, Trump's increasing popularity, Trump will win some states that he barely lost in 2020, with one being the state of Wisconsin. Another will be the state of Pennsylvania, which sympathizes with JD Vance, and that's probably the main reason Trump picked Vance, to get the state of Pennsylvania, because we all know Ohio was going to Trump regardless, but Pennsylvania was not, and Pennsylvania is the biggest prize out of the swing states with its 19 electoral votes. So they'll sympathize with Vance's story. And for that reason, while I don't think that Vance will flip any moderates, I think he'll increase turnout among Republican voters who may think, my vote doesn't really matter. There's so many people in this state, it doesn't matter. But those people will be like, I have to vote. I have to vote for my man, JD Vance. And for that reason, they'll go out and vote. And for that reason, Vance will increase turnout, which is something Trump is very good at, getting turnout high. So for that reason, Vance will help him win the state of Pennsylvania. Moreover, North Carolina is a state where Trump will win. There has been a leftward shift in North Carolina, as you can see. There was a rightward shift leading up to 2016, but since then, it is going more and more leftward, which is helped by unpopular governor candidate Mark Robinson. But then again, North Carolina will go to Donald Trump as it did in 2020, because I can't imagine any states that voted for Trump in 2020 voting for Biden in 2024. So now we get to the state of Virginia. So Virginia would have likely gone Republican had Glenn Youngkin been selected as the Republican vice presidential nominee, but it will go to Biden because Virginia has been going to the Democrats by large margins, and I don't see a 10-point flip happening unless their own governor was picked as the vice presidential nominee. The state of New Hampshire will go to the Democrats by a similar margin. It's in the Northeast. If Biden loses it, it spells disaster for him. It went to Biden by about 7 points, has been going to Democrats more and more, especially in Senate races. It will go to Biden. Same with the state of Maine. Maine hasn't really been seen as a swing state except for the scare that it had for Democrats in 2016, where it only went to Clinton by about 3 percentage points. I think Maine will go to President Biden. However, Trump will win the state of Nevada. The state of Nevada did not shift at all between 2016 and 2020 and will likely shift about 5 points to the right in 2024. And now we get to the final 2 states, which are in the Midwest, which are helped by JD Vance. So the state of Michigan will go to Donald Trump, and that's in part due to JD Vance being from Ohio. It'll also be due to Ben Carson, a Michigan native, helping Donald Trump. He will probably get a seat in Trump's future cabinet, and he will probably campaign for Donald Trump, and for that reason, Michigan will go to Donald Trump, and obviously many other reasons, but that's one of them. And another reason is due to the likely third-party turnout in Michigan due to Biden's handling of the conflict in Gaza. We saw with the uncommitted vote, so that will help Donald Trump. And lastly, the state of Minnesota will go to Donald Trump. Minnesota went to Biden by a whopping 7 points in 2020, but went to Clinton by only about 1.5 in 2016. But it'll go to Trump due to the strong Midwest shift towards Donald Trump. And lastly, Nebraska's second, which went to Trump in 2016, but Biden in 2020, will once again go to Donald Trump. They have a current Republican representative, Don Bacon, who Trump calls a rhino, but nonetheless, Trump will win. If you want more predictions in the future, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.